I'm Folf the Stormi. Stormi Folf. Stormi the Folf. Hi everyone, my name is Stormi. I'm a Folf, and I'm blue, and I have blue swirls on my face. I'm Stormi the Folf, and today, before I get started, I just want to say I started a brand new Patreon perk for my $5 and up patrons, where you can basically catch my latest video and comment on it before anyone else can, or at least as soon as they're posted on YouTube servers, which is more or less like the night before my videos go live on Friday afternoons. Anyway, so if you support me on Patreon and you want to catch my vids early, like the night before they go public, go check out my Patreon link in the description below. And of course, there are other perks and benefits to becoming one of my patrons, like being my potato and so on. I didn't think this through. Let's just start the video already. But yeah. Today I want to talk about yet another topic that I feel hasn't been covered very much in the furry fandom, and that's how to host a panel at a furry convention. Panel discussions are very popular events and conventions. There can be dozens of panels a day, especially at a big furry convention, and depending on the subject at hand, they can draw in some pretty good sized audiences. Quite a lot of furs and curious peeps. So what's a panel? A panel is essentially a discussion about a topic of interest in front of an audience. There can be anywhere from like 10 people to over 100 people listening and watching in the audience. So let's say you want to host a panel at a convention. What do you do? Where do you start? Well, first things first, you need to know who your audience is. You don't want to host a panel where the subject doesn't pertain to the type of convention you're attending. For example, you wouldn't want to host a panel about nuclear physics at a furry convention. At least, I don't think you'd want to. It just doesn't match. You need to settle on a theme that shares some kind of relation to the furry fandom, at least at a FurCon anyway. Next thing is, you need to choose a relevant topic for the convention you're attending to talk about. For example, if you're attending a furry convention, you might want to host a panel about drawing furries or making fursuits. If you're not sure what to discuss, just think about what you're passionate about in the furry fandom. Jot down a few ideas on your phone whenever you get this random brainstorm that happens to me like at 12, 1 or 2 in the morning. I'll have random ideas that I'll just jot down on my phone for future videos, and then I will try to go back to sleep. But yeah, do something like that, or maybe write them down somewhere so you don't forget about them. After you decide what kind of panel you want to host, the next step is to submit an application for your panel. Most, if not all, conventions have a panel application process to choose the panels that best fit the theme of the convention. If they allowed everyone that wanted to host a panel to run one, the convention would be something like 3 weeks long. Panel applications are usually available on the convention's website. But let's say you have like 100 people trying to get a panel at a furry convention, but there might be only 20 slots available. Obviously that's not going to work out, and those 20 slots might be spread apart like 3 or 4 days. Now if you try to like fit 100 panels into those 3 days, it's going to turn into something like 15 or 20 days, so you'd be at a convention for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. I hope that made sense. But yeah, panel applications are usually available on the convention's website. All you have to do is fill it out appropriately, and then your panel will be submitted for review. And please fill the application out seriously. Nothing gets on the programming staff's nerves more than troll applications. Submitting a fake application will pretty much guarantee that you'll never be able to host a panel in your life, at least at that specific convention. But wait, ever heard of Furry Beware List? Yeah, you can end up on one for doing something like this, so think twice about your actions. Just don't do it. Don't be a troublemaker. Okay, you've submitted your application and it was approved! Yay! So now what? Now you have to put together your presentation. You want to compile all the points that you want to talk about in one clean-cut presentation, from beginning to end. You also want to make sure that your presentation stays on topic throughout your allotted time slot. You don't want to go off on a bunch of tangents and then run out of time. Additionally, you also want to make sure you have enough time at the end of your panel for taking questions. While you might have like an hour to host your entire panel, you need to allocate some time near the end of the panel to take a Q&A. Some panels might take questions between subjects, but I find that most save the question round for the end of their speech. And it's probably easier to do that anyway. At least it would be for me. A good time frame would be something like 30 to 45 minutes for the presentation itself, and then save around 15 or 30 minutes at the end of the allotted time slot for questions. Panels tend to average for about an hour long, more or less. Now, you need to figure out how you want to present your panel. Panels are usually run in a discussion format. The host or the hosts will sit down at a table and will simply talk to the audience about your topic. Think of it like you're teaching a class or you're giving a speech. You also need to decide if you want to pair your panel up with some form of multimedia. This can be anything from a PowerPoint presentation to a video or even various props. There are a lot of ways you can present your presentation. I should have thought of a better word for that. You'll also want to decide if you want to have a co-host. Most panels have more than one host. If you have a bit of stage fright, having a friend host a panel with you can really help with public speaking. Alright, you've chosen your topic, your application was accepted, and you've got your presentation all put together. What could possibly be next? The next step is to rehearse, and hang on a second, I misread something. It's rehearse. Oh yeah! Rehearse. The last thing you want to do with a panel is wing it. But you also don't have to memorize a 10-page speech either. Oh god, that hurt. The best thing, in my opinion, to do would be to outline your presentation and mark down the key points you want to talk about. Make sure the presentation has a solid structure and rehearse the flow of the panel. If you have a co-host, rehearse which parts you will each talk about so you're not trying to talk over each other. Maybe try to determine which parts you and your co-host may be best at. Split them up. Rehearsing the panel beforehand will greatly reduce the chances of technical issues, long and awkward silences, disorganization, and of course running out of time. And finally, the last step to running a panel is to have fun. At the end of the day, a panel is just a fun way to share some of your knowledge with other people. Don't let it stress you out too much and just try your best to have a good time. I understand stage fright is a thing. I have it as well. We'll get to that in just a minute, but yeah. I know it's easier said than done, but stage fright is a lot more common than you might think. Like, a while back, I was co-hosting a furry panel with one of my friends for a small local sci-fi convention, and I think I may have talked for maybe 30 seconds out of that entire panel. I kept freezing up, the right words wouldn't come to mind, I didn't have any notes in front of me, and it was very, very hot that day. I basically tried to wing it, and I wasn't suited, so kind of a disaster. Not the best start to my first panel, but I tried. Yeah. And now here's an announcement from my friend Schande.
Hello everybody, my name is Schande Thompson, and I am the Vice President and Director of Programming for Emerald's Fur Summit. EFS is an upcoming furry convention in Pensacola, Florida, running from September 21st through 23rd, and I am inviting all of you to join us. And the context for this video is actually perfect for my announcement. Are you interested in hosting a panel at EFS? Applications are now open. All you have to do is go to the convention website listed in the description below and follow the panels tab, and it'll take you right up to the application. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email me at programming@emeraldsfursummit.org. See you all at EFS!
Speaking of the letter E, F, and S, that means EFS, Emerald Fur Summit. Schande and I will be hosting a YouTube panel together at the convention EFS. If you guys are planning to attend EFS, make sure to come and visit us for the panel. I mean, you don't have to, but I'm always willing and eager to meet anyone that watches my content or maybe new to the furry fandom, and the words are just, I totally lost my train of thought. It's somewhere out there in the Mississippi River or something. Well, that's about all the time I have for today, unfortunately. I'm going to be super busy next week creating a certain video for a certain numeric achievement. Maybe some of you know what I'm talking about? But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please be sure to give it a like, maybe leave a comment, let me know your thoughts on running a furry panel, or if you've ever run any kind of panel at any kind of convention. Share it with your local potato, and if you haven't, of course, maybe subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching my content, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!